This is the NBA over the last 5 decades. We start off here in 1974, 50 years ago. You can see that several NBA franchises didn't even exist back then. Now, each regular season for each team is represented by a little rectangle. The darker red it is, the worse the season was by winning percentage. For instance, in the 1982-83 season, the Houston Rockets went 14-68, ending up with a putrid 171 winning percentage. As a result, they ended up with the number 1 pick that year and selected Hakeem Olajuwon. The NBA introduced the draft lottery soon after. But on the other hand, the darker green a rectangle is, the better a team's winning percentage was that season. For instance, in the 95-96 season, the Chicago Bulls broke the record for the best regular season winning percentage ever, going 72-10. The following season, they went 69-13, tying for the second best record of all time. Unsurprisingly, they won the championship both of those seasons. Eventually, though, in the 2016 season, the Golden State Warriors would set a new regular season record going 73-9, although they did not win the championship that season. Now, certain teams throughout the last 50 years have had the misfortune of experiencing sustained failure. The Kings stand out as having one of the most consistently red timelines, except for a relatively brief period of competence in the early 2000s. Other teams with a lot of red over the last 50 years are the Brooklyn Nets, the Washington Wizards, and until 2012, the LA Clippers. Another trend involving sustained failure is the expansion teams. Generally, when a team first comes into the league, there are several seasons of failure before they finally break through and start winning. In particular, the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves were awful in the 90s and early 2000s when they first came into the NBA. But on the other hand, there have also been teams throughout the last 50 years with sustained success. The San Antonio Spurs stand out as having the most green timeline. They've only really had 2 brief stretches of losing and 1 single season in 1997, which led to the drafting of Tim Duncan. Other teams have had long stretches of dominance. The Lakers, 76ers, Celtics, and Bucks all reigned supreme in the 80s. Then in the 90s, several teams were dominant. The Bulls, the Knicks, the Jazz, the Sonics, the Rockets, and the Suns, to name a few. More recently, the Warriors' run in the 2010s stands out, and currently, the Nuggets, 76ers, Celtics, and Bucks have had dominant stretches over the last 5 years or so. But what trends stand out to you? Are there any teams or eras in particular that you'd like to zoom in on? Let me know in the comments.